Tarumbeta italia katika anga.
Like this. That is how the trumpet will sound.
Iko Nini. So jana kuna kitu Mbadi alibaki amesema. And the only thing nilibaki nimesema ni kudos. So alibaki amesema hii kitu moja ile kuna watu wanai-dismiss wanasema that this is all about the 2027 elections. But on a personal note, I'm there like, I don't care. I don't care why, because if the people benefit because someone is trying to get votes, there is nothing wrong with that. Literally, that's how politicians are supposed to get votes. It's by doing the right thing for the people. So what am I talking about? Jana kuna vile Mbadi alibaki amesema that hii gava inataka kureduce taxes for wase wana earn less than watu wana earn 30,000 shillings and less. So wase watakuwa wakipay zero in taxes it come to stories za payee. Then between 30 na 50 sasa inaruka iende through the ile 10% inaenda direct ku 25%. Alafu I think yule wanasema ni 30 up to 500,000. But hii story of course ni divisive because kile kina happenigi ni hapa Kenya saizi tumefika a level where imekuwa like the unwritten rule which is to just criticize the government full time and not appreciate anything that they do even if they get something right. Don't forget, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So am I angry at this? No, I'm very happy. Wacha tusikize.
Wizara ya Fedha iko mbioni kufanya mabadiliko ya sheria za ushuru nchini ili kuwaondoa Wakenya wenye mapato ya chini kwenye kundi la wanaotozwa ushuru wa mishahara. Kulingana na sheria ya sasa, Wakenya wenye mishahara ya hadi shilingi 24,000 wanatozwa 10% ya mshahara wao kama ushuru. Wenye mapato ya hadi shilingi 32,800 wanatozwa ushuru wa mshahara wa 25%, na wale wenye mishahara ya hadi nusu milioni ulipa ushuru wa 30% ya mishahara yao.
So, unasikia hiyo? So far. So try to imagine. Mse ana 24k wagana lipa nini? Inaitwa ni 10%. So I think unakuwa na ile minimum wage, the one that's not taxed, but let's assume every single coin is taxed. It means that this person pays 2,400. Alafu goes home with 21,600. We're just assuming. Stay with me. Then say ana earn up to 32,800. What we do is now that kuna ile 21,600 alikuwa nayo tayari. And then now between 24,000 up to 30,000 there is this 6,000. This 6,000 analipa 25%. 25% that's 1,500. So now at 21,600 let's add another 4,500 na cheki, so and end up in around 26,100. Now try and imagine that same person, you tell them this 3,900 you've not been paying in taxes, that's your money now. Yani you've been paying in taxes, that's your money. 3,900 is a lot of money to a lot of people. Najua like this is a lot of money to a lot of people, and just because maybe you are in a position ile hii dosi important kwako, that's why this story means nothing to you, and Ruto ni mbaya na hatufai kusupport kitu yote anasema yeye ni mwongo. This story ya taxes specifically, if I was to credit someone from day one, it's been a Mbadi thing. Ajua, he's been the one pushing it. So even if it happens, he's the one who's convinced Ruto to do it. It's not something that Ruto has come up with. The same way, during ile finance bill ingine, that treasury person is the person aliambiaga Ruto like, let's go this way. So this guy has come up with this thing, and to me it's a good thing, but tuendelee.
Hata hivyo, kulingana na waziri wa hazina ya kitaifa FCPA John Mbadi, sasa itakuwa afueni kwa Wakenya wenye mapato ya chini, kwani wale wote wanaopata mshahara wa hadi shilingi 32,800 hawatatozwa ushuru wa mishahara yao tena.
Damn, so it's up to 32,800. This is good. Even the 2,800, that extra, that means that if you're earning 50k, now we are taxing 17,200. Nachiki, that's what's being taxed at 25%. So that means that a quarter of that ends up going back to the government. That's around maybe 4,300. Yes, 4,300 ends up going to the government. And from 50,000, we are talking about you keep 35,700. So no, 45,700. So this is what's happening. This is what this CS is proposing, and to prove the wase, because kuna kuagana that thing, as I keep saying, right now it's become cool to just be angry all the time, and to me that makes it bullshit. Najua, we need to be able to be like, you know what, that's good, you know what, that's bad. Why? Because this government is very incompetent in ways. Kumbuka jana kulikuwa the protest at the matatus where they did nothing about it. They were not even interested in trying to find a solution. They were like, fuck all these matatus, F all the passengers. It's the matatu themselves that really feel like they need to go back to work. And then wakasema next week they are going to do the same thing. And the government is not coming out and saying, you know what, burning of cars, it's not only dangerous because we are burning petrol. Petrol is literally a bomb. Like so many bad things can happen from burning a car. Like it's, but Igava, very incompetent. But when they do a good thing, I'll be there like, because this to me, it's not personal. This is, I'm trying to fight for my own self-interests. And by my own, I mean Kenyans. So when I hear that Kenyan earning 32,000 shillings, 32,800 will be paying zero in taxes, I'm happy for that Kenyan. Najua, super happy.
Anyone who is earning 30,000 and below in Kenya should not pay as you earn. You pay zero.
Kulingana na Waziri Mbadi, Wakenya wanaopata mshahara wa hadi shilingi 50,000 pia nao watapunguziwa mzigo.
Between 30,000 and 50,000. So you only pay 25%. We reduce that by 5%. So those who are earning 50,000, first you will benefit because your first 30,000, you pay zero. Then the next 20,000, you pay 25%.
So I think about your place lateral come make mistake. It's 30,000, it's not 32,800. But it's still, this is still very good because let's look at it. The quick math. 30,000. So we're talking about you earn your first 30, tunabakisha 20. Out of that 20, unapatia na 5%. Alafu, what do you remain with? You remain with your 45,000. We're talking about the payees, bonga juu kina shift and what. But this, to that, I still keep looking at it from the average Kenyan's eyes. This 5,000, this is that just having that first 30,000 untouched. That's really life-changing. That means that person most probably does not need to worry about their electricity bill, because what they used to pay in taxes all of a sudden is covering their whole electricity bill. And these are those two little expenses that people think that they don't add to something, but they add to something. So that was really good. But kutakuwa like, so udanganyana. So Mwafrika, why do you think this guy is not lying about this? Wacha tuendelee.
Waziri huyo wa hazina ya kitaifa anasema kuwa mpango huo unapaswa kuwafaidi takriban Wakenya 1.5 wanaopata chini ya shilingi 30,000 kila mwezi.
We have agreed with His Excellency the President. He has directed me to take to Parliament a proposal. I'm not even waiting for finance bill to come in June. I am taking tax laws amendment bill to Parliament. Once Parliament resumes, we are preparing that bill. Take to them to approve.
Marekebisho haya ya ushuru yanalenga kuwahakikishia Wakenya wenye mapato ya chini pesa zaidi mfukoni kwa kuwapunguzia mzigo mzito wa ushuru.
Mecheki. So this is a good thing, man, and I think tuna need to stop hiyo nini. So I had to start with that story ndo ni piece of wala wase wanatakaga ikuwe like everything is grim and everything is bad and everything is what. Doesn't work that way. We need to criticize everything based on merit. We should not come up with this like blanket criticism. So this is a good thing. Why do I think it's going to happen? Umesikia msee mwenye akisema he's going to take this to Parliament. This is before even the finance whatever may read this year. This is going to help a lot of Kenyans because it keeps some money in their pockets. Of course, it comes to history of taxes. I'm really trying to see if I can get someone from KRA come to break it down, because history of items pia, it's so easy ikiandikwa on paper, but in reality that's a whole other equation. Hakuna vile utaitisha items kwa madha anakuuzia nyanya kwa streets. So if you're providing food as an expense kwa nini yako, now what's going to happen with that? Nacheki. So there's that. But tukitoka hapo still wacha to stick na the same government. So the same government, of course, saizi wana try to do the whole broad-based thing. So as they try to do the whole broad-based thing, kumekuwa na the story that ODM might demand the DP position. Specifically, kumekuwa na the story that umsa naitwa Kithure Kindiki, like what is he actually bringing to the table? Is he that important ama he needs to be disposed? Alafu pia before Raila dedi kulikuwa na the rumor that umma anaitwa Gladys Wanga would be the one who would be given the DP position. Don't forget on Sunday she came out and she said that they are going to request demand a 50-50 sort of arrangement. So now what's happening ikikam to hizi stories broad based, kuna vile Ruto na ubuda naitwa Oburu walikuwa wameisha masaiza ya Kisumu, so wacha tusikize.
President William Ruto and ODM party leader Oburu Oginga at Jomo Kenyatta Stadium in Kisumu during disbursement of 220 million business startup capital disbursement to more than 8,000 youth.
Okay, to more than 8,000 youth. You know my views on history, the Nyota. I feel like it's wasting money. I feel like it's populist politics, where you do something that benefits a few people instead of thinking of programs that would benefit a lot of people. So that's one thing. I have to put that disclaimer. I don't support it. I feel like it's a bullshit plan. But yeah, no, they're doing it, and I guess they understand the politics now. Because I feel like this is the politics of handouts. This is a lot of these people who get this money will not be able to use this money. They'll try, but they won't be able to succeed. Why? Because they're going to start the same businesses. Kuna msata nunua boda, mwingine ataanzisha place ya nguo second hand, mwingine ataanzisha nini, and nguo second hand, even if you look at the market, it's starting to shrink. Ukiendaga online ucheki maviatu wasa na vaa siku hizi, you'll notice that a lot of people wear hizi viatu za China, najua, more than mtumba. Mtumba is not what it used to be. Like back in the days, mtumba was the ish. Nacheki. Like make sure watch video yetu ile na drop at 10 am ucheki vile kina Ian na Robo na ni enjoy juu ya mtumba fulani nilikuwa nimepigilia back in the days. Hizi raya zilini devour jo karibu niambie Mr. Editor and remove that part. This is not good. Okay, tuendelee.
The two using the stage to seek approval from Nyanza voting bloc. Leaders from the two political divide outlining to ODM supporters why the pre-election pact.
Ati sasa watu waende maandamano, sisi tunawaambia we are not boarding.
So kwa nashinda story ya maandamano imetoka wapi? Hiyo ni kuna vile on Sunday Rigathi Gachagua alibaki amesema that there's going to be the biggest maandamano ever in Kenya, and he ended up even calling out Raila and what Raila was able to achieve. And I remember dismissing that. Why? Because I was there. I was here in Kenya. Really happening. The biggest protest in Kenya, I think, in quotes, would have to be Baba while you are away. I don't think we are ever going to see that. Ile Raila alitoka from airport and the whole country came to a standstill, basically. Like, it was crazy. That day was crazy. It's etched in history. I don't think we'll ever see something like that. But Gachagua alituambia we've seen nothing yet. So never say never. Let's wait and see.
Tuko pamoja, mbele tunaenda, nyuma turudi, Nyasaye monogwedu anamor kodu.
Hey, umadha anaitwa Ruto Dinga akisema nyuma haturudi. Okay.
Tulikuwa UDA, but with the ODM family, the country is stronger, the country is more stable.
In what appears to be a relief for Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, the Orange Party leader Oburu Oginga announced that the party will not be seeking the Deputy President's seat during the ongoing pre-election coalition talks with UDA.
We are not going to look for less. Lakini Deputy President, usifikiria ya kwamba tunataka kiti yako, tunataka kukufukuza. Please, you are our friend, but as we negotiate, we are going to negotiate what our people deserve.
Yeah, so yeah, if I have to repeat that point, yes, the story has always been Kithure Kindiki is useless. He's not bringing any votes from the mountain, so why should he keep the DP position? So it's interesting kusikia akisema they don't want the DP position. Why? Because if he's able to keep the DP position, then would he be the first deputy president that's supported by an incumbent? Nacheki. Remember, like Kibaki never supported, what's his name? Kibaki never supported Kalonzo because Kalonzo was his deputy, and Uhuru never supported Ruto. So would Kindiki be the first one to be supported by an incumbent? I don't know.
party leader, stating that the Orange Party is seeking for more cabinet slots other than its current 4 dockets in treasury, energy, mining and MSMEs.
We are not going to take anybody's share. We are only going to make sure that everybody gets their fair share in the national cake.
President Ruto pledged to cooperate fully during the talks.
We are transforming this nation one step at a time. Na mambo itabadilika, Kenya itabadilika, na tutasonga mbele kwa pamoja.
The UDA and ODM party leaders dismissing the united opposition as an outfit lacking agenda and alternative to better governance.
The rudderless.
Okay, kulikuwa na hii part ila libongajia for better governance. I found it super interesting that when he started this statement, I was like, is he talking about Gen Zs, man? Does he have the cojones to talk about the Gen Zs like this? Because remember the whole Gen Z movement when it started, and as I keep saying, there was this damn assertion that it was not a political movement. Why? Because we associate politics with bad things. But what we forget is politics is everything. Everything that we do is determined by politics. The only reason why Mimi Saizi niko employed through a podcast is because of the politics of Kenya allow me to be employed. There cannot be an Iko Nini Tanzania version. Hakuwezi kuwa na Iko Nini Rwandese version. An Iko Nini Uganda version. Why? Because the politics there do not allow for this sort of thing. So, politics is everything. Yes. Look at Sisi, the Matatu menace and the Boda Boda menace. That's politics. Look at Ethiopia and their clean roads and no Boda Boda stuff, no Matatu bullshit. Politics. So politics affects everything. So, sikia hapa vile Ruto alikuwa anabonga juu ya the opposition. I was like, are you talking about the opposition or are you talking about Gen Zs?
The rudderless, the leaderless, the agendaless, the planless opposition, that you are an opposition without alternative.
I don't see them campaigning anywhere. They are just in one region, in one area, ndio wanazunguka hapo, lakini rais anazunguka kila mahali Kenya.
So, kuna hiyo part, the leaderless nini pata kamisa na the agendaless half opposition. That moved him away from somehow it being about Gen Z. So there was that. And then of course, unacheki Ubuda naitwa Uburu taking a swipe at the former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua na kusema that Gachagua is only moving in one region. And I can't blame Gachagua for being kwa hiyo area. Why? Because the others are not pulling their weight. I feel like he's doing everything. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's see what happens. But I feel like the rest, they're not pulling their weight. Najua. It's just this one guy who's doing everything. And at some point, I think he needs to eventually akidemand more. Ulicheki majuzi, kuna vile Wamoshomba kidogo ya interview alisema that nani alikuwa na bang meza. Iko nene. Alikuwa na bang meza. And I understand kwa nini alikuwa na bang meza because... And I'll understand akibang meza ya kina Kalonzo because they're not pulling their weight, man. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. Ekonene, najua mwaka ni mpya lakini injili ni ile LemFi. So kama uko US, uko UK, uko Canada ama uko the UAE na unatry kutuma do Kenya, baki umechangamka, ingia LemFi, utabaki umepata the most competitive rates. Lakini apart from that, on your first transaction ya $100 or more, utapata $20 sign up reward. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, chap ingia LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. Ikonene. But sasa, of course, Ubuda, one thing that I have to respect him for is he understands the politics and especially tribal politics, and he knows that they need the numbers. So he started pushing for something that I feel like the Gen Zs are sleeping on, and that's called voter registration. But wacha tusikize.
It was a busy Sunday for the united opposition, who all converged in Murang'a and Nyeri counties in a show of solidarity. DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua hosted the opposition leaders in Mathioya constituency, where they attended a church service at the ACK St. Mark's Gitugi in Murang'a County. After the church service, the leaders held a Meet the People tour in the constituency, where they affirmed their unity Gachagua rallied the Mount Kenya region to get set for the mass voter registration to boost their numbers ahead of the August next year general election.
So, umecheki one thing, vile niko nasema juu Oburu Odinga, umecheki hiyo story like this happened in Murang'a, so that's what unachekia na enjoyiwa. So this is needed in other areas. Like, I don't know if I've seen the United Opposition in Mombasa, for example, very cosmopolitan place. Have I seen them do enough stuff in Nairobi? Not really. But yeah, I don't know. But wacha tumsikize kikam to story na voter registration.
In fact, our issue is only one, which we shall deal with Mother and JB. Registration of voters inaanza 29th of March. Nataka kuomba wazazi wote, make sure mtoto wako kama amefikisha 18 years, hiyo registration inaletwa kwa polling station.
Na tumesema tuchukueni kura. Ruto afanye nini? Chivayo wakuje, Kamago wakuje, Ruto sisi tutakupeleka nyumbani kwa kura zetu.
So, this is a good thing. Nikisikia hiyo Ruto sisi tutakupeleka nyumbani kwa kura zetu, I'm happy. Why? Because I want us to be able to maintain the democracy, even for those people who say that democracy doesn't work. Anataka tubaki tume-maintain hiyo. And I think ile Ruto Gachagua alifanya nika realize is the registration we've been talking about imekuwa ile ya kwenda kwa the constituency in quotes head office, but right now there's going to be like a polling station, and that's going to be from March 29th. So I'm going to make sure, like for example, mi pia nimeget yangu ya polling station ili haraka nibaki nimeswitch. I used to be a Starehe resident, unajua nilikuwa naishi Ngara, that's a Starehe resident, and yes, I didn't change that even when I moved to Lang'ata, but right now I'm fully Lang'ata. I'm a Lang'ata resident, so I want to move that. So that's interesting.
Gachagua chided President William Ruto to accept that the mountain vote had long gone.
He is president by the vote of this region, which gave him 47% of the vote. Hiyo kura imemwondokea, na anajua hiyo kura ikimfukuza ikiwa imeshikana atakuwa sugoi saa 2.
Damn. Hey, sugoi saa 2. Okay. Is it that simple? I don't think it's that simple. But is it okay for Gachagua to make it look that simple? Yes, because you have to make people be confident that as they go into this, they have the upper hand.
Sugoi saa 2.
Ukijipiga kifua kusema utashinda na kura 2 milioni 3. And you know the truth, as Fred has said. The truth is, as we speak now, William Ruto has no chance of second term.
Na hatutaruhusu Ruto kuvunja katiba na kuendelea kama nchi ambayo haina katiba. Kenya sio dictatorship, it's a democracy. Nilimsikia akisema ati nchi zile zinafaulu ni za madikteta.
Yeah, so vile Ruto alisemaga hivyo, of course, this was last week. I ended up commenting on that. Na nicheki mse fulani, he was losing his stuff, telling me it's all about context and what. No, don't tell me that the only countries that succeed ni dictatorships, while in quotes the most successful country, ama the country where most people get their dreams to come true, ni America. Inakuwaga like one of the things where you might hate America, but probability of making it in America with a certain skill set and making it in Kenya with the same skill set ni very different. Let's even look at fight ile Obina try promote ya Majembe versus NAF 2490. These are content creators. In America, this would be something big. Like, people would be interested. Kuskumbuka, hapa wa Kenya, we are very interested in that fight. If this was being organized kule, there's be more money to make. This would be life-changing money for both of those two dudes. Nacheki. But this is a third world country. And tukiangalia state still, it's still a democracy. So, wow, it's still run by oligarchs. Najua zile raya zinapendaga inaitangwa nini? Ni semantics. Zinataka kuanza kunitpick vitu. The fact that nani amefanya hivi, the fact that nani amefanya, it doesn't work that way. Najua. Kuna, yeah. So, but tukiendelea?
mimi namwelezea enda utafute nchi ya dikteta uhamie huko.
The opposition leaders also accused the Kenya Kwanza administration of clawing back the gains made in the education sector.
Wanasemekana kina Kalonzo hawana akili, Rigiji hawana akili. Sasa wewe mimi nakuuliza, mtu ukiwa na akili, upewe serikali mahali watoto wanaenda shule, kesho watoke shule hawaendi shule. Hiyo ndio akili kweli?
The united opposition stood their ground, insisting that they will not be party to an election where the current election technology provider Smartmatic is involved.
This is interesting, man, because Gachagua, last time Smartmatic were involved and you won that election and you've been very confident that you people won. I remember ukisema we won fair and square. So I think we still have to stick na Smartmatic, but yeah.
We will not accept the Venezuelan technology that has been discredited world over. Imetumika Uganda juzi, hizo Kim's kit failed.
Hapa tulivyo, victory is sure. The agenda is very clear.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka told the congregation that he departs to the United States for a 10-day tour to meet key government officials and build international allies for the Kenyan opposition with his shuttle diplomacy credentials.
Yeah, so kulikuwa na hiyo part pia ile licheki Kalonzo akisema vile anaenda kureport Ruto huko US, and I think that's meant for the masses, because the few people who understand how politics work know Kalonzo is just going to meet. Najua, he's not a president. He's not. So those people can't give him any form of respect. Ila tutaka chini na yeye and discuss Kenya. How watangoja in 2027? Does he win? If he wins, he becomes the big boss. But right now, he's not the big boss. They're not interested in what he has to say and what he represents and anything. Najua, these people are not interested. And that's when nakumbuka ile time vile Jirongo, story ya Jirongo ili happen, nakumbuka nani akisema, I think ilikuwa ni Gaido akisema, we need to retweet till the American embassy does 1, 2, 3 things. Jirongo. Damn, man. I don't know. But Ruto pia alienda paki call out, of course, Matiangi. Come to history ya education, because Matiangi of course alikuwaga like a CS wa education, na nimechikio part moja kibonga juu ya how the education thing is all messed up, and umsali end up aki hit back, and it's interesting to see like right now there's that a lot of sparring that's happening, unajua, and yeah, so I think Ruto saizi kuna time alikuwa na focus sana on what Kalonzo was saying. But right now I've seen like he just kaende huyu ameongea acha tuende naye, huyu ameongea acha tuende naye.
Pale nyuma masomo ilikuwa na matatizo. 2022 capitation ilikuwa chini, walimu walikuwa hawatoshi, pesa ya kusomesha watoto wetu ilikuwa haitoshi, hata program ya university ilikuwa karibu inasambaratika. Lakini kwa kutambua umuhimu wa vijana, we fixed the education program that was broken. Mimi naona viongozi wengine wanasema mambo mengi, wanajaribu kutupatia lecture ya mambo ya education system. We want to tell them, we are fixing your mess. You messed the education system. There were no teachers in class. There was inadequate capitation. There was no enough money for universities and TVETs. 21 universities were facing closure because of insolvency.
So this one was like a direct reply to Matiangi kibonga juu ya education. So yes, what's going to happen? I don't know. So talking of education, I think tunaenda kumalizia na story. Kulikuwa na story ya kuna mtu alidedi akiwa chuo, and this is one of those things where I don't know, man. I feel like our parents played a role in this, because our parents started this thing of giving teachers too much power and telling teachers, you know the right thing. Mtoto wangu ni kichwa ngumu, unaweza mpiga, unaweza what. And this was passed from generation to generation. And then what ends up happening, majuzi kuna mtu alikuwa msick at one of these schools. I think it was Njoro Girls High School. And what happened, instead of taking her to hospital, they ended up giving her Brufen. And brufen is just a painkiller. It's not, you're not getting to the root cause of what's causing this pain. Or is she even in pain? Unaweza kuwa sick and you're not in pain. Let's say you have a fever, ukisikia baridi, you're not in pain, but you're not also healthy. So she ended up passing away. But wacha tucheki.
Now, standoff ensued at Njoro Girls High School in Nakuru on Monday after irate residents there staged protest over the death of a Form 4 student under unclear circumstances. The family of Brenda Akinyi claimed that their daughter died of neglect as she allegedly did not get timely assistance from the administration. The girl died at Nakuru Teaching and Referral Hospital.
Mechikio, like untoya could get help in time. And this is such a common problem in Kenya. Najua ile wale watoi kudedi wakiwa chuo. And we live in a time when parents can be accessed through phone, through what. Like back in the days, those dark ages, it makes sense. No one had a phone. Ilikuwa like only the rich families in Kenya had a phone. Right now, there's a way to reach the parents. Even if you think the kid is faking it, you just reach the parents, let the kid fake it at home. Acheki. But an easier thing would be, tunashinda tukiambiwa SHA ina work, take them to a public hospital and wafanyiwe a test. Hiyo test ionyeshe kama, but tuendele.
A cat and mouse game ensued between police and residents at Njoro Girls High School in Nakuru on Monday afternoon. Residents and some parents had gathered to protest the death of a Form 4 student, Brenda Akinyi, under unclear circumstances on Friday. The family says they were not notified about her illness on time, putting Brenda's life at risk. This despite living a few meters from the school.
Askeyo, umtoyena live a few meters from the school. Don't forget, this is January. Like school has just started. She's just gotten into Form 4. Natari shall lose life yake. Hii country.
Nilitiwa kazi, kufika kwa shule naambiwa na rafiki zake dada yako ni mgonjwa. Kwenda kuuliza nani anajua mtoto ni mgonjwa? Nasa anajua, anajua. Deputy anajua. Matron anajua. Na mbona hajapiga home simu? Ati sijui alikuwa anapewa treatment. Mtoto anakuwa mgonjwa siku 3 hakuni mnampea brufen.
At Brenda's family home, Millicent Anyango mourns the death of her 18-year-old daughter. The family blames the school administration for delaying medical attention.
Daktari akamuuliza maswali, mtoto alianza kugonjeka lini na ulimpea dawa gani? Akasema mtoto aliblame kichwa kidogo na nikaweza kumpea brufen. Na hiyo brufen, na hiyo ndio nilikuwa nataka mpaka hapo kesho sasa akizidiwa ndio nitie mamake.
Askeyo, like, man. Alafu, the scary thing about this story, utasikia hii kitu imehappen kwa hii chuo before. That thing I normally talk about consequences. One of the things that affects us as a country is there are no consequences for a lot of stuff. Najua, especially big crimes, hakunaga consequences. Ukisnatch simu kwa streets, there's consequences. But if you grab billions, there are no consequences. If you make someone lose their life because of negligence, there is no consequences. So this keeps happening.
Other parents who joined the protests say this is not an isolated case, that 3 students had died in unclear circumstances in 2023.
Walichelewa kunipigia niende nichukue mtoto. Nipeleke wapi? Si. Sasa baka hapo singejua nini inaendelea. Unaona? Sasa mimi wanishike tu, wanisaidie kufanya hiyo postmortem, tujue mtoto ako nini, hata nijue nini, hata rudi na tukisajua ukweli iko wapi, mtoto aende azikwe apumzike.
However,
okay, machikio ilikuwa happen in 2023 and hakukuwa na consequences. So it ended up happening again. And I feel like it's also time for a parent, if you're taking your kid to boarding, you have to let that school know that the kid's life is more important than their education. I know that might seem controversial, but if they die educated, I'd rather mtoto wangu live uneducated than a dedi kama yuko educated. Why? Because grades are not what they used to be. Najua, like kitambo ilikuwa grades na kuguarantee universities, na kuguarantee jobs, na kuguarantee what. Then things just ended up changing. And right now, there's a lot of factors moving. Unajua, like ni moving parts that determine how we are getting to the final destination. And if the only way a kid is going to get there is kama amelala akiwa mgonjwa na life yake haipatiwi importance na health yake haipatiwi importance. Wacha basi hiyo education ikae na cheki. But yeah, niambie nikimalizia history ya tax, Ruto anadanganya ama adanganyi? Mbadi is Mbadi our body, ama Mbadi is not our body? Is this for everybody? Okay, I try to come up na kitu maybe yani anafaa kuwa na come up nayo. I'm full of ish. It's still morning. Iko Nini.